One thing that maybe we're close to your 10 o'clock time that we promised to get you out, but maybe two things. One, a comment, and then I'm asking you or Alan to speak a little bit more to one other item. One of the things we thought was very important, and certainly I advocated for within the JPAC process, is there ought to be a way, and Alan hinted at this, that a jurisdiction or an area that says, hold it, if we want to be able to move up in this priority, how do we do that? What do we have to do? What do we have to establish zoning-wise? What do we have to establish in terms of our aspirations for our own community growing? A whole series of other things to allow them to be able to move up. Because we thought it was very important, not just to say, oh, this is it, locked in, forget about it for the next 30 years, but we want that movement to occur by having places say, as Tigard has, we really want to get to the density, we want to be able to get to the to get to light rail, and we're willing to take actions to do so, which is one of the reasons why Tigard is so well positioned. Secondly, though, if we could, which one of the two of you will mention it, the challenge on Barbur, because that really does look like the next one, I think, certainly it's my view as well, but it is challenging. Could somebody guys kind of give at least the board a sense of what some of those big challenges are, kind of by section, as you're kind of coming across 405 and here and...
Please go ahead.
So, two challenges, really. One is the basic engineering of the alignment, and the other is there are a number of destinations which are close, but not directly on the Barbur. So if you think about how, starting from downtown, just getting out of downtown, it's not absolutely obvious which alignment we should take. But once you get beyond that, then you've got OHSU, which at one point is only 800 feet from Barbur horizontally, but it's a significant distance away, and so how do you make that connection? You continue down, and Barbur and I-5 are not far from each other, but there's no place that's flat land. It's a lot of structure. Wherever we're going to be, it's a lot of structure. And that continues through a good portion of the city of Portland, all the way down until really you get down to the Tigard Triangle. A lot of it is on some kind of slope or between I-5 and Barbur, and we're going to have a real challenge about figuring out, okay, if we want the stations to be in a good place that's accessible, should the alignment be next to I-5? Should it be next to Barbur? Should it be in Barbur? Another key destination that isn't quite on Barbur is PCC Sylvania, which at one point is only 5 blocks away from Barbur, but literally the street is not even paved and there are no sidewalks. And then getting into Tigard, crossing I-5, you have to do that above grade, obviously, and there's a big slope. You chase the slope, it's a long structure to get down into Tigard, then there's a question of, are you on Barbur, are you behind Barbur? And then beyond that, again, where it turns into Barbur or Pacific Highway becomes very much more of a classic 50s or 60s commercial strip that has big commercial uses right on the highway and then single-family neighborhoods all behind it. You can't go too far off of Barbur. You either have to be right on or right next to it. And every place, there's not the absolutely obvious decision about where it needs to go. So every one will take a lot of engineering work, but also a lot of discussion of how does this work best.
I think it's very well put. The only thing I'd add is that within the city, there's also a focus on the land use. That the current land uses along Barbur were really kind of residuals from when it was 99W, the main north-south highway, and so that there really is an opportunity, a lot of, if you will, opportunity for new development along Barbur. But how does that get zoned and planned? And, there's a rocky history in the southwest neighborhoods with planning efforts, so that's one of the things the city is very cautiously stepping into. But I think really essential to make the line successful. The other part is the whole relationship between the freeway on and off ramps and Barbur Boulevard and how the traffic flows. And if anybody familiar with that area, sort of the area of my backyard, the freeway interchanges are not standard by any means. You can get off some places, you can get on in others, but you don't have this standard interchange design, and so Barbur ends up serving right now as an on and off ramp to these widely spaced interchanges that are sort of not balanced. And so the question is, what's the right use of Barbur? So there's a policy question there that then also then reflects down to what improvements are ultimately needed on the freeway. So all of that gets intertwined, and so I think this will be a very long, but very important planning exercise for the region.
To me, it sounds like you should give them rapid transit and rapid bus service and move east.
I mean, one thing that it does, if you drive Barbur, at least from about Twilliger on, there is, in my view, it's hard to find a building that you'd want to say ought to be kept. I mean, the opportunities for redevelopment in that corridor all the way down to Tigard and beyond are pretty significant. And as Alan pointed out, you've got a lot of single-family residences just outside of that commercial corridor, which can really be tapped well for transit purposes if you can make the connections work.
But on a serious comment, you're not thinking of going down Barbur, but using, or are you looking at that as an alternative, one of the options, and I-5, or?
It would really, essentially, it's the Barbur corridor, whether it's in the street, off on the side of the street, or slightly off, is really the issue. But it is the Barbur really from really 405 all the way until it becomes Pacific Highway and then Pacific Highway.
So I think the question you're asking, we're not ready to answer yet.